Okay, so I'm officially starting. Good morning. It's October 3rd. The focus of this class is going to be the arms. We have two of them. And we're going to especially be paying attention. Well, we're going to start at the neck and head. We're going to come down. We're going to come through the shoulder girdle, which is the shoulder girdle. Here's one of my little skeletons. I've got a bunch of them, different sizes. Here's the shoulder joint right in here. Here's the scapula or shoulder blade. Here's the clavicle or collarbone. Here's the humerus bone or upper arm bone, and the top or the head of the humerus fits in to this socket. The socket is part of the shoulder blade. And we hold a lot of tension in our arms. People don't realize what we're going to spend a lot of time with the elbow, and hopefully we'll get into the forearm. I'm probably going to continue the theme of this class next time as well. But people don't realize how much tension we carry in the upper arm and in the forearm, and especially we're focusing first after we do the head and neck, coming down into the upper arm and into the elbow joint. The limbs, the arms and the legs, the foundation of the limbs and movement of the limbs and function of the limbs is all in the trunk, the spine, the back, the front of the body. And people overuse their limbs and overuse their arms because they don't have the support of their back, of the front of the trunk, of the back of the trunk. And we'll be doing specific movements, and then we'll integrate them. I call them differentiated movements, and then we'll integrate that into larger parts of the body and even into the whole body. We will be using, at a lot of the time, we'll be using the pandicular process. Pandiculation is real magic. It works with the brain, especially with the motor cortex, but what it does, I'm going to throw out some jargon and then a little bit explain it. It resets the resting tonus of the muscle. The pandicular process resets, in this case, it's going to lower the amount of held contraction. You can just think about it as general tightness or tension or stress. It resets, it reduces the amount of held contraction we're holding in our muscles due to the habitual misuse of different joints and muscles in various postures that we've habituated. And we carry more than we realize in the shoulder, in the upper arm, in the elbow, in the forearm, wrist, hand, and fingers. The pandicular process has two parts. The first part is you make a voluntary, intentional, comfortable contraction, like I'm flexing my elbow right now, so I'm using upper arm muscles. Biceps is the most famous. It's one of three major muscles we'll be using today. I make an intentional voluntary contraction. I contract those muscles. The brain knows what I'm doing. And then the most important part is part two, is the slow, controlled release out of contraction to resting length. Resting length is the length of your muscles when they are not actively working. And your muscles actually get a longer resting length when you've reduced habitual contraction in them. And you feel longer, you feel taller, you feel broader, you feel more open, you feel more flexible, and you get rid of pain. So we're going to start today. Let's go ahead and lie down on our backs. We're going to start with our body scan. And get yourself comfortable. You probably want to have a pillow or two at the ready. Some people use folded towels. It's really nice to have your head supported in a way that your chin is not coming up into the air. You really want to be able to have your face parallel with the ground and let your head rest on something that really allows you to come into the resting level of your neck so that your neck actually begins to stop working. Those muscles stop working because you're not intentionally working your neck or your head right now, and your neck actually starts to lengthen. So just having something at the ready, even a couple of books, 2 or 3 books, depending on the size of the books. If they're not too hard, that's really also just fine to rest your head against. And then your legs are comfortable. They can be bent or straight. You can always put pillow or pillows under your knees. And begin to just focus on your breath. Nice, easy breathing, not forced, not big gulping. You know, a lot of people here do deep breathing and they gulp their breath. That is not a good way to take in a breath. And if you just gently flare your nostrils a little bit, let your nostrils flare outward, it opens up your airways. Nose breathing is the healthiest, especially on inhaling. If once in a while when you exhale, you want to come through your mouth, it's very relaxing, that's fine. You want to take what I call soft breaths. They can be deep or not. They can be a little extra deep, but comfortable, soft, not forced, not gulping air, not over-efforting. We tend to over-effort in our body so much anyway. It's really an opportunity in a somatic movement class to not overdo and go for comfort and go for ease. Feel the back of your head on the support below. Allow your awareness to come down your neck and across the top of your shoulders and down your arms, letting your arms be very comfortable. Come back up to the top of your back and just gently come down your back. In the upper back, maybe notice your shoulder blades, and if you can at all feel them against the floor or parts of your shoulder blades against the floor. And you'll feel some of your thoracic back, that's the part of the back where the ribs attach. You'll feel at least some of that against the floor. And then you'll come into sort of your mid-back area and into your low back. You may not feel your complete low back on the floor. It depends how your legs are positioned. If your knees are bent, you'll probably feel more of your low back against the floor. But in either case, it doesn't matter. You're going through a period of releasing muscles by not contracting them. Some people call that relaxation. It's a kind of relaxation, but we're also paying attention. We're not collapsing into ourselves, and we're not going away. We're staying internally aware of our internal sensations and feelings. As your back lengthens, your front lengthens, your shoulders broaden, your back broadens. And then coming down through your pelvis, the buttocks are part of the pelvis, the pubic bone in the front is part of the pelvis. Your hips are just right inside your pelvis, letting your pelvis relax, letting your buttocks relax, coming down through your thighs, your whole thigh, three-dimensionally, it's a cylinder. Down through your thighs, through your knee joints, especially relax your knee joints. We're going to be spending time with the elbow today, and the elbow, like the knee, is an intermediate joint between, in the case of the elbow, between the shoulder or even shoulder girdle and the wrist and hand. And the knee is the intermediate joint between the hips and pelvis, and then coming down into the ankle, foot, and toes. They're very important joints. Letting your knees, your calves, your whole forelegs, your ankles, your feet, and your toes relax. Let's begin with a little bit of arch and flatten, which we often do. So I like to bend my legs one at a time. It's up to you. And you're going to stand your feet on the floor. And this will, if your legs are long, you might even feel that your lower back is a little bit closer to the floor. And I'm starting with arch and flatten so that you get in the habit of letting your spine, letting your trunk, letting your head and neck move no matter what we're doing with what part of our body. Allow that trunk to follow what we're doing. So as you inhale, Buttock stays on the floor. You gently lift your belt line away from the floor, tailbone toward floor. And then as you exhale, you release the back. You gently contract the belly. The pubic bone will come. Some people describe it as up. Some people describe it as going towards the chest. And that's on the exhale. You begin to inhale. You release the front of the body, the abdominal muscles. The front relaxes. You continue with your inhale to move into an arch, arching of the low back gently. And then as you exhale, you release the back, transition to contracting the belly a little bit into a flatten. As you inhale, you release the belly, move into the arch. And you're going slowly and gently back and forth, paying attention especially to what's happening in your somatic center. The arch, the lumbar area where the arch takes place is in the back of the somatic center. The abdominal muscles are on the front of the somatic center. Letting your head and neck gently move and flow with your spine. Don't worry about how your head and neck are moving. Allow them to move. And check into your breath. Make sure you're breathing. Relax your jaw. Make sure you're not clenching your jaw. Let your eyes relax. And I like to finish on a flatten so that my back remains in a more lengthened position. We're going to go into a series of neck moves. The muscles of the neck are attached to the skull, the neck itself, especially the vertebrae. They're attached to the shoulder girdle. They're attached to the shoulder blades, the shoulder joint, crossing the shoulder joint, some of them, and the clavicle or collarbone. So the tension in our head and neck increases tension in the shoulders and shoulder girdle and down the arms. Remember, the theme is the arms. And so we're starting there to not only reduce tension in the head and neck, but start reducing tension throughout the shoulder girdle and down the arms. We're going to start with a reference muscle of the supraspinatus. Come along with me and palpate it if you would like to. I'm going to take my left hand and touch the tip of my right shoulder. You'll feel the bone, the ending bone. It's called the acromion process. It's part of the scapula. And then right below it, you come onto the flesh of the upper arm muscles. And so it goes from the tip of the shoulder blade, of the shoulder, which is the shoulder blade, and it comes across the shoulders to the base, almost the base of your neck, C7. It lives underneath the upper trapezius, which we're going to do next, and it lives in a depression of the scapula. So it goes from the tip of the shoulder to the base of the neck. So we're going to do one arm at a time. I'm going to start with my right arm. Very little bit, a few, 3 or 4, not more than 6 inches. Let your arm gently come away from your body, and then just let your arm relax on the floor. And you're going to think about bringing the tip of your shoulder towards the base of your neck, and your arm will move because you're moving from the tip of the shoulder to the base of the neck. Let your head and neck do whatever they want, and then very slowly go ahead and release into length, meaning you're not going the opposite direction. You are not intentionally stretching or lengthening it, but as you release the muscle, it releases into length, into its resting length, and it releases between the attachments of those muscles between their bony ends. And then once again, breathe any way you want. Go ahead, bring the tip of your shoulder to the base of your neck. Slowly let those muscles release. Reference muscle, supraspinatus, but you're never using one muscle. Let the arm completely rest, the upper arm, the elbow, etc. One more time. Bring the tip of your right shoulder towards the base of your neck. You are contracting and shortening that muscle and those muscles up on the top of the shoulder and underneath the top of the shoulder. And slowly release to being finished with the movement, the end, not working, allowing that resting length to really possibly come into your awareness. You may feel your neck is longer on that side and your shoulder is wider and broader, and you may already feel effects down your arm. Now let's go to the left arm, starting with the arm on the floor. Both arms are probably on the floor. Well, if you want to palpate it first, okay, you can take your right hand and you can bring your right fingers to the tip of your left shoulder and come across the top of your left shoulder and to the base of your neck. Don't strain your arm if that's hard to reach. So that's where we're going to be working, and we're underneath the top muscle of your top of your shoulders, the upper trapezius. You're just underneath that. And so now let your left arm come a little bit away from your body, but resting on the floor, and bring the tip of your left shoulder towards the base of your neck. And then slowly release and relax. And completely come to rest. And then once again, breathe any way you want. I usually do it on an inhale, release on an exhale, tip of your left shoulder towards the base of your neck. A slow, controlled release with awareness to a complete stop so that your resting length can come into those muscles between the bony attachments of those muscles. One more time. Bring the tip of your left shoulder to the base of your neck. Your head and neck, my head and neck want to move. I'm letting my head and neck move. Slowly release. Keeping it slow and controlled and released the whole way to rest. You're releasing into the resting length of those muscles, coming to a full stop. Supraspinatus is very important. It crosses the shoulder joint and it keeps the top of the humerus, the top of the upper arm bone, it keeps it positioned in the socket. So it's a really important muscle and often neglected muscle. Okay, upper trapezius. We're going to start with the right upper trapezius on the top of the right shoulder. You're going to turn your face to the left gently. And then you're going to bring your right shoulder towards the back of your head and the back of your head towards your right shoulder gently. People overdo this and then that backfires on them and they get tension. And then slowly release. You can leave your face to the left. If you bring it back to center, then you just turn it back to the left. And we're going to add a little extra move to this to make it a little bit more effective for the upper trapezius. If you take your right arm and gently roll it backward a little bit and then bring your shoulder towards the back of your head, your face is to the left and the back of your head towards the shoulder, it'll increase the shortening or contraction of this muscle. Do it gently and then slowly, slowly come out of this position to complete stop, rest. You might even feel that resting length come into focus for you. Once again, your face is to the left. You've let your arm relax as well, so roll your arm backward or outward again a little bit. Bring your right shoulder up as you tip your head back. And slowly, slowly release. The most important part of the release is towards the end of the release. When you get closer to your resting length, you want to be sure not to speed up. In fact, it's good to slow down. And then once you've come to rest, you can let your head come back to center. Take a few moments. You may feel quite a difference between your right side and right arm, right shoulder, right arm, right elbow, all the way down into the hands and fingers, and your left. Let's go with the left upper trapezius on the top of the left shoulder. You're going to turn your face to the right. You're going to shrug your face is to the right. You're going to shrug your left shoulder up and tip the back of your head back towards your shoulder gently. And then slowly release and relax all the way to rest. You can keep your face to the right. If you bring it back to center when we start again, turn it to the right comfortably. Now, to increase this move a little bit, roll your arm backward a little bit as you shrug up with your left shoulder, tip your head back towards your left shoulder, slowly release, 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 to stop. And one more time. Your face is to the right. Your arm has relaxed. Hopefully I forgot to say that, but now let your arm roll backward a little bit as you shrug up and tip your head back. You're contracting the upper trapezius, the top of the left shoulder. Slowly release, release, all the way to stop. Bring your head back to center. Give yourself a few moments to notice the resting length. You are releasing into resting length. Those muscles, as the pendicular process resets the resting tonus, it reduces the resting contraction being held from habitual contraction. And so you may feel you've got more neck, you may feel your shoulders are broader, you may feel more relaxation down your arms. Sometimes you may even feel how much tension you're carrying in your arms after doing a section of these moves, because it begins to highlight where you're still holding tension. Let's do the levator scapula. We're going to do it I'm going to divide it into two parts just to teach you. Take your right arm and bend your elbow. And as you inhale and arch and do a very gentle arch, and your head isn't going to go backward, your head is going to go up. Your head is going to go long. And as you inhale with a gentle arch, your head going long, bring your elbow a little bit as if it's going back behind you, and shrug your upper arm and shoulder up towards your head. And then slowly let that release. That's the position of the arm. I will repeat it as I give the whole process. So I'm going to start with the head. Let your arm relax. I'm going to start with what's happening in the head and then bring in the arm, and I'll give all directions. Bring your right ear a little bit towards your right shoulder and turn your head to the right and leave your head there. Do it very comfortably. Bend your right elbow. Inhale. Go into an arch that lengthens through your spine. Bring your right elbow as if it can go backward towards your spine. Shrug your whole arm and shoulder up and tip your head back gently. And slowly, you're going to let your arm come down, and you're going to let your head come back to center. I'm going to repeat that. We are aiming, sometimes you get what's called knots at the top of the shoulder near the neck. This levator scapula move is great for those shoulder knots. Once again, right ear towards right shoulder, roll your head right comfortably, leave your head there. Bend your right elbow, inhale. Do a lengthening arch, gently bring your right elbow back towards your spine. Shrug your arm and shoulder up as you tip your head back. Now listen how you're going to come out of this. Start to release your arm. And then before you bring your head back to center, start releasing your head and chin a little forward towards your right chest so that it comes a little bit forward and the back of your neck starts to become long, sort of the double chin position in the front, and then bring your head back to center. and then relax your head. One more time. Right ear to right shoulder, roll your head comfortably right, bend your right elbow, inhale a lengthening arch, right elbow back towards your spine, shrug up with your arm and shoulder, tip your head back gently. Slowly release your arm, and as you release your head, bring it a little bit forward and then come towards center. Your chin is kind of back towards your throat, your neck is long, and then relax your head and neck. And give yourself a few moments to experience the sensations of relaxation and letting that muscle release into its resting length. Okay, let's go to the left. Let's just practice the arm movement on the left with the left. Bend your left elbow. Inhale, and a lengthening arch means your head goes long. Bring as if you're bringing your left elbow behind you towards your spine, and then shrug your arm and shoulder up towards your head. Then slowly release the elbow so your arm comes long. And I am going to guide you through the whole movement. So there's a head part and an arm part. Okay, so left ear comes towards your left shoulder, roll your head left very gently, bend your left elbow, take a lengthening arch, left elbow comes back towards your spine as if it can come back towards your spine, shrug the arm and shoulder up and tip your head back. Slowly release your arm, and gently to release your head and neck, let it come forward a little bit so that as you bring your face to center, the back of your neck is long, and then let your head relax. It just gives a little bit more length to those muscles. A little bit, no forcing or it'll backfire on you. Once again, left ear to left shoulder, roll your head comfortably left. Bend your left elbow, take a lengthening arch, left elbow backward towards your spine, shrug your arm and shoulder up, tip your head back. Slowly release your arm and elbow, and as you release your head, let it come a little forward towards your left chest. And as you bring your chin back to center, let the back of your neck be a little bit lengthened. And then when your head is in the center, bring your head center. And one more time, I think this is now the third time, left ear to shoulder, roll your head left, bend your left arm, inhale, lengthening arch, left elbow back towards the spine, shrug up with the shoulder, tip your head back. Slowly release your arm, your elbow, let your face a little bit come towards your left chest. Bring your head back to center with your chin a little bit down, lengthening the back of the neck, and then relax. Check yourself, make sure your head and neck, your shoulders, and your arms are relaxing and are not working. It is a skill to learn to not move, to not do. You're always moving a little bit, breathing and things like that, but you are inhibiting yourself from actively moving. Okay. We're going to do one more neck move. This is one of my favorite neck moves. Where does the time go? That's okay. I think these moves are so valuable, and they're the basis for releasing through the arms and through the elbows. We're going to do a suboccipital move. Don't get worried about language. The suboccipital muscles are muscles at the very top of the neck where they attach to the skull. If you bring your hands, if you can reach your hands back there comfortably, let your fingers sort of massage and palpate, go to the top of your neck where it hits, attaches to your skull. And there's kind of a shelf there, it's called the occipital ridge. The muscles are right at the very top of the neck into the skull. And we're gonna work with those muscles. We tip our head back so much and we don't realize we're doing it. I do, I know I do. Anyway, if you bring your hands behind your head, and now you're going to tip your head back into your hands, you're actually giving yourself a little bit of load with your own hands. And then as you begin to release, what you're going to do is it's not really bringing your head forward as much as bringing your head more long up above your head, and let your hands kind of coax your head up, not forcing, it's just a hint, and then relax. And you're working those suboccipital muscles. It can feel really good. So once again, tip your head back into your hands. You're tipping your head backward, not your whole neck, but the head on the neck backward. And then you're releasing towards a long neck with your head going up. Your up in this case is above your head, not towards the ceiling, but as if you were continuing to lengthen your head on your neck. And your hands are just coaxing that movement a little bit. And then one more time, you're going to tip your head back. I usually do this as I inhale, as I exhale. And as I release my neck into resting length, my hands are just very gently coaxing my head to go long, my neck to go long, my head to go long, as if my head is filled with helium. Well, that in this position, in the lying down position, it's going long, that's better. And then just relax and let your arms come down. Your elbows might have moved a little bit with your arms coming in and out. It just depends how you were holding your head. And let everything relax and see if you can enjoy and feel the sensations of a longer neck, especially up towards the occipital ridge. Okay, we're going to integrate those moves with a more focus on the lower body. We're going to do one of my very favorite moves. I do it pretty much every time I do my somatic exercises. It's called long back. And we were reducing excess tension in our neck and shoulders. Our neck was getting longer, our shoulders were getting broader. Let's let our whole spine, our whole body get longer, the whole back get longer. So bend your knees. We're going to do one at a time. Your feet are going to stay where they are. I'm going to break this down a little bit so that you can start to move. What you're going to do is you're going to roll your pelvis so that you're rolling your pelvis a little bit more into your left buttock, your right side of your pelvis, your right hemipelvis slightly lifts a little bit. And then you're going to come back through the center and you're going to roll your weight into your right buttock, the right side of your pelvis, your left hemipelvis slides up a little bit. And just, this is not pandicular right now. This is just a kind of a flow so that you start to understand what it means. You are rotating or turning your pelvis a little bit from side to side. So the weight goes more into one buttock. Then you come back briefly through your neutral and roll your pelvis into the weight into the other buttock and come back to your neutral. That's going to be part of the next move. This move, we're going to do it on an exhale so that it hopefully inhibits us from arching. If you want your back to be long, you cannot arch it. When you arch your back, you're shortening your back. We want to lengthen our back. So we're going to inhale to exhale. And on the exhale, two things are, well, just breathe for a moment. Two things are going to happen relatively simultaneously. You're going to bring your right knee forward. That is, your right thigh is going to come a little bit out of your pelvis and your hip as you roll your pelvis to the left so that the weight goes into your left buttock. Okay, so let me guide you through this. Inhale to exhale. As you exhale, roll your weight into your left buttock. Bring your right knee forward. Your foot stays where it is. It helps you to lift the right side of your pelvis. Your right back is long. It is not big. If you make it too big, you'll go into an arch, and we don't want an arch. We want a long back. And come back to the floor. Let's do it again. You're starting from neutral. Get ready to roll your pelvis to the left. Get ready for your weight to go on the left side of your pelvis and your right side of your pelvis to lighten. Inhale to exhale. As you exhale, simultaneously project your right knee long. Your thigh goes long. Your weight goes into your left buttock. Your right hemipelvis lifts a little bit. Your right back is long. And come back to the floor. One more time. Get ready to bring the weight into your left buttock. Inhale to exhale. Exhale. As you project your right knee long and your right thigh is getting longer, your weight is going into your left buttock. Your right back is long. And let yourself relax. It complements the lengthening coming through your upper back and your neck. So we're going through literally the whole spine. Okay, left side, left knee. Get ready to bring your weight to turn your pelvis to the right to get your weight into the right buttock. So you're going to inhale to exhale. As you exhale, project your left knee long, turn your pelvis, your weight is in your right buttock, your right thigh is long, your left thigh is long, your left hemipelvis is slightly lifted or lighter on the floor, your left back is long. I hope I didn't fumble the words too much. Let's do it again. Starting from neutral. Inhale to exhale. As you exhale, project your left knee long. Roll your pelvis to the right so your weight is in your right buttock. Your left hemipelvis is a little lifted. Your left thigh is long. Your foot does not move. Your left thigh is coming out of your pelvis and out of your back. And slowly release and relax. One more time. Inhale to exhale. As you exhale, project your left knee and thigh long. Turn your pelvis to the right. Let your weight go in your right buttock. Your left buttock, left hemipelvis slightly raises. Your left thigh and knee are coming right out of your pelvis. Coming right out of your left back. Your left side is long. And come back, relax, and you can relax in whatever position is comfortable for you. We're not quite finished with that move. Bend your knees again. This time we're going to do a little more altering. Let your arms relax on the floor. This time we're going to start with the right again as we project our right knee and thigh long with the right long back. We're going to let our rib cage, our head and neck, and our shoulder girdle turn to the left, just like our pelvis will be turning to the left. So get ready to let your pelvis turn to the left with the weight going into the left buttock. So inhale to exhale. As you exhale, project your right knee long. Turn your weight so your right hemipelvis lifts a little from the floor. Turn your somatic center, rib cage, head and neck to the left. Your shoulder girdle will slightly turn to the left. Your right shoulder a little more forward, your left shoulder a little more backward. and slowly come back to center. Let's do that same move. Again, you're like kind of like a barrel rolling to the left. It is called the barrel. Tom leads it in one of his tapes. Okay, inhale to exhale. As you exhale, right knee projects forward, turn your pelvis to the left. Your right hemipelvis slightly lifts, your right back is long, your right somatic center, rib cage, head and neck turn to the left, your left shoulder girdle is slightly turned to the left. Slowly come back to center. This move helps you to understand that when we move our limbs, our legs or our arms, in this case, we're more focused on shoulders and arms, the foundation of those moves is within the spine. So on this last round, just follow the directions. I'm actually going to let the right arm go a little bit across the body to the left. Okay. Staying with the right knee. Okay. Inhale to exhale. As you exhale, project your right knee forward, turn your pelvis to the left, turn your rib cage and head to the left. Your shoulder girdle turns to the left. Now, reach your right arm across your body to the left. Reaching across your body is a full body move. Your right back is long. And come back to neutral. All right. We're going to do those moves to the left. So get ready in the upper body, well, from the somatic center, from like your belly button, somatic center, rib cage, head and neck are going to be turning to the right because the pelvis, in this case, the whole trunk and head and neck and pelvis are going to turn to the right. You're going to be projecting your left knee and thigh. So inhale to exhale. As you exhale, project your left thigh and knee forward. Your left hemipelvis lifts. The weight goes into the right buttocks. Your rib cage turns to the left. To the right. Your rib cage turns to the right. Your head and neck to the right. Your navel to the right. Your shoulder girdle a little to the right. Your left shoulder's a little forward of your right. And come back to center. Okay, let's do that again. Inhale to exhale. As you exhale, project your left thigh and knee forward, weight into your right buttock. Turn your trunk to the right, navel, rib cage, head and neck, and reach your left arm across your body towards the right. To use our arms, the foundation is in our spine and our trunk, and come back to neutral one last time. Inhale to exhale. Project your left thigh and knee long. You're turning to the right. Your somatic center is turning to the right. Your rib cage, your shoulder girdle, your head and neck. Reach your left arm across your body to the right. To reach your left arm across to the right is to use your whole body. Your left back is long. And come back and relax in a position of comfort. I take the time to do that move because getting length back into our trunk, into our spine, into the front of the body as well is really important because we release muscles into resting length that goes for front, back, and sides. Okay, let's go to the elbows. And we're going to get a more specific and a much smaller differentiated move. You're going to be working with the elbow joint, and we're going to be working in flexion, and we're going to be working in 3 different positions of the hand. And just follow along. First, as you rest your arms on the floor, just think about your elbow. It's that intermediate joint between your shoulders and your wrist and your hands. And the muscles of the elbow live between the elbow and the shoulder, and a number of them attach all the way up into the shoulder. Some of them attach onto the upper arm bone, the humerus, and they attach at the elbow or below the elbow. So they actually attach in the upper part of the forearm. And that's why when you bend that's how you can bend your elbow. Those muscles cross the elbow joint. Some of them cross the shoulder joint, and elbow and joint work together in many movements. Okay. We're going to do both elbows at the same time because of time. But if you are having elbow or upper arm pain, I really suggest you do this movement, one elbow, one arm elbow at a time. And of course, I'll be posting this on my various things I post. I'll tell you at the end. Okay, turn your palms towards your thigh. Bend your elbows so your palms are facing each other, but they're parallel. Okay, now bend your arms to about 90 degrees, and now slowly, we have only a certain amount of time in the class, so you have to kind of take a moderate slow, and let your hands come back down to the floor and relax into resting length. Go bring your awareness to your upper arms. Let the length between your shoulders and your elbows, see if you can notice that resting length. And again, the palms towards thigh, flex your elbows to about 90 degrees. And we're going to do starts and stops. Just follow along. You're going to bring your hands down a third of the way and pause. You're going to recontract a little bit, come back into flexion of the elbow a little bit, and now release slowly 2/3 of the way and pause. Your elbows are bent, the upper arms are on the floor. We're just working at the elbows. And now recontract a little bit, and now slowly release that last third. Remember, do not speed up at the end. And it's hard to judge distance. It may be, the floor may be a lot farther away than you realized. Sometimes if people have a lot of tension in their forearms as they bring their hand down, they have to put a little bit of pillowing under their forearms and wrists. Okay, one more time, bend both elbows to about 90 degrees. And now this time come almost all the way down relatively slowly. And just before you think you're going to touch the floor, maybe an inch, which is hard to judge, you're going to pause and recontract a little bit. And now take that last inch or two really, really slowly into resting length, releasing into resting length of the upper arm muscles. That position with your palms towards your thighs works with the brachioradialis as the reference muscle. Okay, position 2, bring the backs of your hands, bring your palms on the floor. The backs of your hands will be facing the ceiling. Bend your elbows about 90 degrees. We're working with reference muscle brachialis. And slowly release. Not too slowly, but slow enough that you can feel the control of the release to full stop and full resting length. If I go too fast, you'll just do more repetitions. Once again, bend your elbows to about 90 degrees, palms are facing the floor. You're going to release about a third of the way and pause. Recontract a little bit. Another 2/3 of the way, pause. Recontract a little bit. And then slowly release that last third of the way to complete resting length. Again, bring your awareness to your upper arms. See if you can feel that length. And Third position, turn your arms so that your palms face forward. They're facing the ceiling. If this is not comfortable for you, your arms are on the floor. Your palms are facing the ceiling. Your arms are on the floor. Your elbows are not bent. Your arms are straight on the floor. Turn your palms toward the ceiling. And now bend your elbows to 90 degrees and slowly come down to the floor. And rest. Okay, this is now the reference muscle or biceps. Okay, so once again, bend your elbows 90 degrees or less. And come almost all the way down. I can't remember exactly what repetition we're on, but because of time, come almost all the way down, but not all the way. Recontract a little bit. And then very slowly, it's nice to slow up as you get towards the longer resting length, because that's where your motor cortex really can inhibit or stop the motor units from contracting, which gives you resting length. And go into complete relaxation of your arms, releasing into resting length. Okay. That was, we're going to, because of time, we are definitely going to carry this session on into the next class in November. I want to do, let's have you turn on to one of your sides. It really doesn't matter, but do put support under your head. Let's at least change positions a little bit. And you're going to drape your arm along your side. Your knees are bent comfortably. Your ankles are under your knees. And we're going to do our lateral flexion move, but we're going to do them in the following way. So just to review the lower body, you keep your knees touching. You bring your top foot up toward the ceiling to hike your hips so that your obliques contract and your ribs contract, and then you slowly bring your foot down. Sometimes I have new people, if you feel I'm going too fast, I do this move so much with people that I'm maybe rushing it a little bit for new people. Bend your elbow that's draped along the side towards the ceiling. Bend that elbow and your fingers are sort of just dangling towards your shoulders. Your fingertips are sort of dangling towards your shoulders. So now what you're going to do is, as you bring your foot up towards the ceiling to hike your hip, bring your elbow and armpit down. You may or may not need to raise your head. So your elbow point and your hip are coming toward each other. And then as you slowly release, you're going to go into length. You're going to gently lengthen your top arm and top leg as if it's a stick, but a kind of a gently curved stick. Don't overdo it. Your ribs are opening. The ribs that were contracting up towards the ceiling are now opening. And then slowly come down, bending your elbow, letting your bent elbow, upper arm rest along your body with your fingers towards your shoulder. And go ahead, breathe comfortably. Bring your foot up to hike your hip. Bring your elbow down, elbow and hip coming toward each other. Your ribs are contracting. So we're doing this with a flexed elbow. And now we are extending and lengthening or opening the elbow joint gently to the extent that is comfortable, and lengthening our leg. And slowly come back down and let your arm go long and relax your elbow. I'm only going to take you through 2 repetitions so I get just a little bit more done in today's class. All right, we're going to work more specifically with elbow extensors, the triceps muscles, 3 heads, and the back of the upper arm. I hope you can follow these directions. You're going to bring your elbow. If you need to slightly look at me for one of the repetitions, it's fine, but I think my words will be good enough. You're going to bring your straight arm that's on your side gently backward. You are extending, your elbow is straight, so your elbow is extended or straight, your shoulder is extended behind you. Keep your upper arm right in that position and just let your elbow bend a little bit. Your upper arm stays behind you, doesn't move. And then re-straighten your elbow. Can you feel your upper arm triceps muscles contract? And then take your straight arm and then just slowly bring the whole arm back to your side. Keep bringing your arm forward into length, sweeping along your thigh and coming towards your head, but do not overdo it. And then slowly come back down. As you come back down, you're actually going into extension. Briefly pause along your side. Bring your whole arm backward. Leave your upper arm and elbow where it is. Let your elbow bend. That's flexion of the elbow. Now extend or straighten your elbow. That's extension of the elbow. I can really feel my triceps strongly in this, but I'm not overdoing it. And then I'm slowly letting my whole arm come to my side to rest. And now I'm lengthening triceps by contracting shoulder and elbow muscles like biceps and shoulder muscles that flex the arm by lengthening the arm forward. And now I'm starting to go into extension of the shoulder. As soon as I start going backward, I'm extending my arm at the shoulder. I'm bringing my arm behind myself comfortably. Leave your upper arm behind you. Let your elbow flex. Then let your elbow extend, straightening your elbow. Let your arm completely, slowly come to resting position along your side. Follow through and lengthen your arm forward. You're flexing your arm at the shoulder. Slowly just let your arm come back down to your side and relax. Take a moment to relax, feeling the resting length. We focused a little bit more on extensors in the back of the arm and some in the back of the shoulder. Now, make your way to your other side. Okay, bend your knees, ankles under knees, drape your arm, and then bend your elbow and let your fingers drift towards your shoulders. We're going to do the lateral flexion move from this position. Bring your foot up towards the ceiling to hike your hip and let your elbow come down towards your hip. You're shortening the ribs and the obliques on the side facing the ceiling. Slowly release to neutral, through neutral, lengthening your top arm and leg gently. You're opening up, you're straightening the arm, you're coming out of flexion of the elbow, and you're opening up the ribs. And then slowly let your elbow bend as it comes down along the side of your body. And we're going to repeat that. Your fingers are draped towards your shoulders. And breathe comfortably. I usually do this, I vary it. So breathe comfortably. You're going to bring your top foot up to hike your hip. You're going to bring your armpit down towards your hip. You're contracting your obliques and your ribs. You're going to slowly release and lengthen gently, a gentle lengthening. You don't want any of these moves to backfire. Gently lengthening of your top arm and top leg. And then once again, come down and let your arm just drape, your long arm drape along your side. And now we're going to, so let your arm be long, unbend your elbow. Okay, so now we're going to work more with the extensors of the shoulder and the elbow. You're going to bring your arm is long, your elbow is straight. You're going to bring your arm behind you. So your shoulder and your elbow are in extension, they're straight, and your shoulder is an extension behind you. Let your elbow bend, and then straighten your elbow. See if you can feel those triceps. And then slowly let your arm come back down along your side and let everything relax. And now bring your arm straight forward, and you're lengthening those extensors. You're going into flexion of the shoulder, and then you'll slowly come back down to rest. We're going to repeat. Your arm is straight along your side. Bring your straight arm behind you, elbow straight, shoulders behind you, arm is behind you. Let your elbow bend. That's flexion of the elbow, but we're doing it so we can go into another extension of the elbow. Hopefully you'll feel your triceps. And then slowly let your arm come back to your side. And then let your arm come into flexion, coming in front of you, gently lengthening those extensors, and slowly you're coming back down. You're actually starting to extend as soon as you come down. One more time. Let your arm and elbow go behind you. Gently let your elbow bend. Now let your elbow straighten. See if you can feel the upper arm muscles, posterior muscles. Those are your triceps. Slowly release. Your arm just comes and rests along your side briefly. And then you're going to bring your arm into flexion of the shoulder. Through the arm, you're lengthening those extensors. And then slowly come back down. And relax. Give yourself a moment of relaxation. Good. And turn over onto your back again. Let's work just a little bit with the forearms. I'm looking at the clock and I want to do a little something for the forearms. And then in the November class, I'm going to continue this theme of arms, elbow, forearms, and going into the wrist, hand, and fingers because it's such an important part. And any of you that are having pain in your lower body, in the hips or in the knees or in the feet, in the low back, you will probably feel great relief and much less pain and tension in those areas by working your upper body. I would love to hear feedback. If some of you are having lower body, we're having a lot of, or some lower body problems, the effect of working the head, neck, and down the arms and is amazing, is often amazing for releasing tension in the lower body. Okay, let's work with the forearms. What you're going to do is let your arms be long and let your palms just be facing your thigh and bend your elbows. Your upper arms stay on the floor. Okay, now turn your palms towards your face. You're at 90 degrees. You're bending your elbow at 90 degrees. Okay, turn your palms towards your face. Okay, this position is called supination, palms towards your face. You can drink the soup. It's like your hand is soup and you can put it in your mouth, supination. What you're going to do, we're going to work with our forearms, and your hands are going to move too because your wrists are going to stay in a neutral position straight. And so you're going to now turn your palms towards your feet. So you are pronating. You're contracting the pronators, prone to the goddess. And now slowly release. And when you release slowly, it doesn't usually bring you all the way back, but just very slowly bring yourself back to the starting position of hands towards face. And once again, you're turning so that your palms are facing your feet, or that's the direction. Don't overstress. If you've got a lot of tension in your forearms, you are contracting the pronators and slowly release. You'll see it doesn't usually take you very far, but then slowly take your hands the rest of the way to the starting position of hands towards face. One more time, we are pandiculating. You're going to contract the pronators. You're turning your hands towards your feet. Slowly releasing. Notice where you sort of run out of juice. And then just gently bring your hands back to the starting position. And let your elbows relax. Let your hands come back down to the floor for just a moment. You are releasing into the resting length of the pronators of the forearm. You don't have to worry about where those are. There's a lot of diagonal muscles, but just notice if you feel your forearms, they may be even slightly tingling. Okay, bend your elbows to 90 degrees, and now you're going to start with your palms towards your feet. So you're going to start in the position of pronation, but you're going to turn into supination. So you're going to start to turn your hands towards your face. And now you are pandiculating. You are contracting the supinators to drink the soup and slowly release. Again, you don't go very far. And then just slowly bring your hands back to the position towards your feet, to pronation. And then once again, contract the supinators, turn palms towards your face. You're turning the forearms. The hands are in neutral, so they're coming along. This is what turns the hands. Slowly release. You don't go very far. You just have to slowly come back to your beginning position, hands to palms towards feet into pronation. And now we're going to supinate. Turn your arms so that turn your forearms palms towards face. You're contracting your supinators. Slowly release. Slowly, just after you've released, just slowly go back to your beginning position, palms towards feet, and slowly let your elbows relax. Now you're into elbow work. Slowly let your elbows relax. And feel the full resting length throughout your arms, your forearms, and just let yourself rest into the support that you feel from the floor. We're going to go into some closing moves. Let's start with the twist. Let your arms abduct or come out from the shoulders, and your knees are bent. I will start guiding you. And let your knees start going to the left. Don't overdo it. Your right arm goes more palm up, your left arm more palm down, your face turns to the right. And you're going to slowly do this a little bit more as a flow. Your knees are going to come through neutral to the right. Your arms are going to switch directions, your trunk and your face. Your left arm is more palm up, your right more palm down. And now gently just go back and forth a little bit. You're back into the shoulder girdle in the upper body. You're in a rotation in the pelvic girdle. You're in rotation in the shoulder girdle and in the pelvic girdle, and you're doing it as the upper and lower body rotating in opposite directions. It's called a contralateral or contra-rotation position for the upper body and lower body. It's what we do in walking. It's a contralateral rotation. Come to completion, and we'll end like we often do with the diagonal arch and curl. So you can do it any way you want. I'll guide this for people that are newer. Bring your right hand behind your head. Your knees are bent. Bring your right hand behind your head. Get ready to lift your left bent leg. So you're going to first inhale and gently arch, make it a long head, a long back. Exhale, and you're going to let your hand help lift your head. Your elbow will come closer to your head, and you're going to bring your left bent knee, right bent elbow toward each other gently. And then you'll slowly bring your upper and lower body back to the floor, to a pause, to a stop, and you'll repeat. You'll go at your own pace. So if you're doing it the way I'm doing it, your right hand is behind your head, you're going to inhale and arch. And as you exhale and curl, your hand helps lift your head. Your right elbow and left knee are coming toward each other. You're slowly coming out of that. And then one more time, go ahead, do it about 3 times with each side. Inhaling and arching, diagonal curl, right elbow, left knee. I'm probably going to go over a minute or two. If you need to leave, I totally understand that. And then go ahead and switch, and now left hand behind your head. Inhale and arch. As you exhale and curl, your left hand will help lift your head, left elbow and right knee come toward each other. And go ahead and repeat. Inhaling and arching, left elbow, left knee, and releasing. And go ahead and do the last one on your own. And when you have completed without rushing, go back into rest position, whatever rest position is for you. You may want support for your head. You really want your head, you don't want your chin to be up toward the ceiling. You really want the back of your neck to be able to lengthen into resting length. And we'll end like we began, feeling support behind the head, noticing your breath. Let it be very gentle and soothing. You may want to flare your nostrils to open your airways. Nose breathing, if you want to exhale out of your mouth now and then, that's fine. Inhaling should really be through the nose for better physiological health. And notice, do you feel longer? Does your neck feel longer? Does your upper back feel broader? Does your chest feel broader? Do your arms feel longer? Does your trunk, front and back and sides, feel longer? Can your pelvis nicely rest into the support? Are your legs longer? Are your knees and thighs coming out of your pelvis and your back? Are they feeling a little longer? And is that length, can you project that length down through your whole legs, your forelegs, and into your feet? All parts of you are looking for their resting length. Our theme today was arms. We started with the head and neck and into the shoulder girdle and into the elbows. We even did a little bit with our forearms. In our next class, we are going to continue this theme, and we're going to integrate elbow and forearm movements into more everyday movements. And we'll work a little bit more with wrist, hand, and fingers. We will integrate everything into larger regions of the body and full body as well. If you have another moment or so, I am going to suggest you roll to one side. As you're ready, you may feel glued to the floor. You roll to one side and you give yourself a moment to stand and feel your full height. And you also, after you have done some standing, I don't want to rush people, but you'll feel your feet and you'll feel your height. A really important thing to do for your body when you're standing, because it'll affect the elbows, believe it or not, is to make sure your knees are not locked. If you are a person that locks your knees, just bend your knees a little bit and come up to a soft straight. And as you unlock your knees, there's a reflex, if you believe in reflexology, which I do, there's a reflexive connection between symmetrical joints, and knees and elbows are symmetrical joints. So you want your arms to hang, you want to feel long arms, and then go ahead and take a little bit of a walk. I call it the la-di-da walk, where you're just letting yourself be comfortable and walk around. Let your arms gently swing. They're swinging from your shoulder girdle. Let your head and neck be tall. Let your spine and back be tall and broad. Let your legs be under your trunk and your legs feel supportive and stable in their movement. And your arms being able to swing freely, like they're well-oiled joints. Your shoulders and your shoulder blades and your elbows and your forearms have gotten oiled up so that the joints are refreshed. They're actually hydrated. That is going to end today's class.